Hello and welcome to Alyssa Jean's reviews. Oh, hold on. Let me make sure my microphone is on. Hello and welcome to Alyssa Jean's reviews. Hopefully, you are now able to hear me. I just realized my microphone was on mute a second ago. So I am doing this week's review. This is my review, of course, for Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 7, Dominion. And I am doing this week's review as a live stream because of the fact that I don't have my regular computer. It's in the shop and I don't have access to my iMovie. So I'm borrowing a laptop from someone, but I can come on and do the live stream. Um, so that's why it is this way this week. I'm doing this at like 1:30 in the morning my time, so I don't expect a lot of people to show up in the live chat. However, I know I do have fans in Australia, subscribers, fans, whatever you want to call them, and other parts of the world who could show up. So if anyone does show up for this live stream, just know that I am not going to interact with the chat. While I am doing my review, I would just like to get my review out there. And if someone did happen to show up in the chat, then I would address them at the end. So, Season 3, Episode 7, Dominion. Of course, there are spoiler warnings that apply if you have not seen up to the end of this episode, blah, blah, blah. So, this is an interesting one to try to talk about because I kind of feel like how I like the next episode is really going to affect how much I like this episode. They're kind of interdependent on each other, in my opinion. So, first of all, there's a lot that I can really hang my hat on in this episode. I think it was really intense, really suspenseful, and kind of dark in some of the best ways. And I was very engaged in it, and also really much on the edge of my seat and wanting to know what is going to happen next. So it was very effective in that way. However, there is a song that has been going through my head, and I don't know how many people will get this reference. I know that my brother will get this reference, but you guys remember Lost, right? The show Lost. Uh, Years ago, before Lost airs its final season, which God, that was like 13 years ago now. Oh my God! But leading up to Lost's final season, somebody created this fan created YouTube video where they took the song "Downtown" and made it in a song about how they wanted the answers to all the questions that Lost had left unanswered at that point. And the song went, answers, lost, we're counting on you for answers. Like, that was going in my head because I feel like we're at the point where, all right, we dragged out the mysteries long enough. We did get little nuggets of information that I did appreciate. We did get the reveal of who Vatic is, her origin story, what her motivation is, why she has the particular face that she has. I found that all interesting, and also kind of more the motivation of changelings in general. And I did get the impression that although they didn't say it specifically, this does seem like a splinter group because she said she passed on her abilities to those who wanted it, so those who were on her side. So I'd still like to see the other side of the changelings as well. So we get that we got the explanation for why the changelings have changed or evolved. So that is all good. But the reason why I say my opinion on this episode is really dependent on next episode is by the end of next episode, we have to have the answer of what the hell the deal with Jack Crusher is. Like they've dragged that out long enough. So I mean, episode, if we do not have a definitive answer of what the deal with Jack Crusher is, then I'm going to be really annoyed. I just feel like they're kind of dragging this out a little bit too much. Right now, we're okay. I think we're right on the edge of, okay, come on, let's get us those answers. But if we don't get that by next week, that's going to make me frustrated by next week's episode and retroactively this week's episode as well. I would personally like to get the answer of what their plan is. What's the big deal about Frontier Day? We kind of got some speculation from Picard and Crusher that they're trying to create a perfect duplicate of Picard, but I don't know that that's necessarily correct. And I get the hint from Vanek when Picard told her that. She was like, haha, you're wrong. But I don't know. That was just my reading of it. So I think we need that pretty soon. So yeah. That's why I feel like next week's episode really is going to make or break this week's episode for me. We need answers. But I did really enjoy this episode overall. There was also some of that clunky storytelling that I mentioned last week. Like, I don't know. At the end of last week's episode, we got this dun dun dun. Riker's kidnapped, and you will give me everything that I want to know because we have Troy, and then we're not going to show either one of them in the next episode. Not the real Riker. Anyways, we got the changeling Riker. But we're not going to get either one of them in the next episode. We're just going to kind of drop that. Also, it looked like that they did discover that Riker was on the Shrike. So when the Shrike appears, they don't let's try to beam him over. Let's see if we can get Riker. I don't know. They just kind of pretend like he wasn't there. So I don't know. Let me go ahead and get into some of the more details. Norman, you must be joining me late. I see Norman Buckwald in the chat. I just said that I'm up in the middle of the night. Yes. Mainly because I have something to do in the morning, and I'm not going to have time to do it in the morning. So I figured I would just do it before I went to bed. And as I also said at the beginning, I'm not going to interact. That's all I'm going to say to Norman right now because I want to get my review out. I'm not going to interact with the chat as I'm doing my review. I don't like doing these reviews as a chat. I like to just do it as a pre-recorded video so that I can just get it all out there. But this week I didn't have a choice. I had to do it as a live chat. So I'm just going to ignore Norbert for the time being, and I will address you at the end of this. So getting back into some of the details. So loved the Captain Tuvok cameo, even if it did turn out to be Changeling, but it's still great to see Tim Russ in that role. I'm loving these cameos. I know that there are those who think that it's a lot of just ooh, look at this, ooh, look at that. The only one that I felt was that way, as I mentioned last week, was Moriarty. The other ones I like. I liked seeing Captain Tuvok. That was kind of cool. So even if it was Changeling Tuvok. So now we're getting back to the Jack Crusher seeing the Last of Us vines and the weird shit, and he's getting these red eyes. And now we're getting this new thing where he seems to be able to telepathically communicate with Sidney LaForge. So that is interesting. So the show is now very much back toward Jack Crusher as a changeling. They seem to be. Last week I was like, oh, looks like Jack Crusher's not a changeling. Now it looks like I think maybe he is. It seems to be going back in that direction. We get the line at the end. I'm jumping around, but we get the line at the end of the episode where Vadek's like, you don't know who you truly are, or you're going to find out who you truly are, or whatever. So we get that mystery, and that's why we definitely need the answer to what the deal with Jack Crusher is by the end of next week's episode, if not in the beginning of next week's episode, quite frankly. But for now, I did enjoy kind of the suspense and the mystery and what the hell is going on. I just don't want this to drag out beyond next week. So that was all well and good. And It was very dark. I know my friend of the channel, Brandon, has complained about how dark the screen is. I think it was dark, but I personally can see it just fine. It's not dark in any kind of negative way. I can see, I have no problem seeing what's going on. I think that it is dark in a very effective way because it just sort of adds to the creepiness of it all, the suspense of it all. Um, so they're kind of in this really desperate state when they reach out to Tuvok and find out he's a changeling. It's like, well, we can't really trust anybody. We're on our own. So that's why Picard comes up with that plan to trap Vadic. Now, I don't think it's a really amazing plan like by any means. It's like, let's just get them over here and trap them in force fields and see if we can get information from them. It's a very dangerous plan. However, because they are in such a desperate state and they don't really have a lot of recourse, I kind of buy it. I kind of buy that they would just be like, well, let's just do this because we don't know what the fuck else to do. So this is definitely I hate to bring this up, but this is much better than in season 2 when they went to that party or whatever, and Picard was like, "I have a plan," and their plan was just to go and have drinks and hang out and try to talk to what's her face, Picard, Renee Picard, and there was no plan. What plan? He was like, I have a plan, except that there is no plan whatsoever. Whereas this one was better than that, and it made sense that the plan would be kind of weak sauce because they're desperate and they don't have a lot of recourse here. Let me get a little bit more on the information on the lore and data of it all and kind of the partition there. I don't know. I do have a little bit of the feeling that lore taking over the ship was a little bit of plot contrivance. Like lore just conveniently kind of takes over that body just in the right moment to add more suspense to the plot. But I think overall I'm okay with it, and it doesn't bother me that much. But it did feel just a touch bit contrived there. But overall, I did really enjoy the suspense of it all, and just seeing Jack and Sydney like kind of trapped in those force fields there, and Geordi unable to beam them out, and like and as soon as those force fields go down, they're kind of in trouble, and that kind of thing. And the interaction between Picard and Crusher and Vadic was really intense as well. I am really enjoying this character, Vadic, and I think we do get a lot more insight into her this week. Now, the episode then ends on a cliffhanger where Vadic is kind of taken over the ship. So Picard's weak ass plan kind of backfired. But again, I don't blame them for having that plan because like they were desperate. What the hell else are they going to do? It still bugs me that Riker has not been mentioned. But we do leave on a cliffhanger. That's why another reason, again, I feel like my opinion of this episode really greatly depends on how they follow through with the cliffhanger next week. And we need the answers. As I said, what is Jack Crusher? Is he a changeling after all? What manner of changeling is he? Why is he seeing these visions? Why does his eyes turn red? I can put that into the song. Why does Jack Crusher's eyes turn red? Anyways, it's late. I'm a little sleepy. I'm a little loopy. As Norman pointed out in the chat, I've stayed up to late hours of the night to record this video. I think I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, give my rating out of 10. And then I actually do have a couple of housekeeping things to take care of, a couple orders of business to take care of before I go. But let me go ahead and give you my rating out of 10. This was a tough one. I don't know. It's again, it's dependent on next week. So I'm stuck between a 7 and an 8. And if you know my channel, when I get in that position, what I do is split the difference. So I'm going to go ahead and give this week's episode a 7.5. And as I've said before, I do think that I would like to at some point do a rewatch and then go back and re-rate all of these episodes. So this one could go up a little bit or down depending on next week. So for now, giving it a 7.5. So just a couple of housekeeping things to take care of. So because I am lacking a computer, as I mentioned, or my own computer where I can access my iMovie program, I am going to have to put on hold the Lower Decks video that I was working on. So that will come out sometime next week. I was hoping to get it out by the end of this week. So I'm doing a Lower Decks season 1 rewind review where I've rewatched all the episodes of the first season, and I go through each of the 10 episodes, and I'm going to give my review, my rating out of 10, and then some Easter eggs and observations for each episode. And that was supposed to be out by the end of this week. It'll be out sometime next week. As soon as I get it done, I'll just post it. I won't wait until Friday. I'll just throw it up there online. So probably Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday-ish, something like that, will be when that video is posted. Also, I just wanted to mention, because I don't have another chance to mention this, that there was a big announcement this week, just a couple days ago, really, where Strange New Worlds is coming out in June, on June 15th. Thank God, because when I did my preview video, I had mentioned that I saw some sort of, like, I forget what it was, a YouTube video or something, or an article I read that mentioned that October was the likely date for Strange New Worlds. And I was like, please don't be that long. I was hoping that that was wrong and that it was actually June. And my hope has come true. It is June 15th specifically. And it has been renewed for season 3. We get Lower Decks' late summer, which is exactly what I predicted, because it always comes out in the late summer. It's usually August. So Lower Deck season 4 is in August. Also, we get the confirmation that season 5 of Lower Decks is going to happen. And then we learn that we're getting Prodigy by the end of this year. So sometime in the winter of 2023. I don't know if they're going to do 5, 5, and 10 again. I wish they would just do all the episodes all at once, but Prodigy has not been renewed for a 3rd season at this point. So we'll see about that. And personally, I don't care if it gets renewed for a 3rd season or not. But then again, maybe the 2nd season will really blow me away. Anyways, let me see what Norman Buckwell. Norman, you're not the one I expected to show up in the chat. Isn't it late at night for you as well? I was kind of expecting like Brandon, because it's the middle of the day for him, I think, or maybe Matty Jester, because I think he's about 8 hours ahead of me. So let's see what Norman has been saying in the chat. I assume we're going to see Worf and Raffi rescuing Riker and Troy in the next episode. Oh yeah, Worf and Raffi. I forgot to mention that as well, that I really missed their absence, or I really noticed their absence and really missed their presence this week. We did get their absence in a previous episode, but I think it made more sense for them not to be in that. I think it was episode 4. I forget which one that was. That one I was okay with. This one I really felt like they should have been there. So I guess we're going to get more from Raffi rescuing Riker and Troy. I don't know. I think that that's a little clunky storytelling to me. Jack is a sleeper agent for Odo is Norman's theory. That could be interesting. I still want to know the logistics. If he's a changeling, what are the logistics of this? Norman says 7 out of 10. So you're close to me. I was kind of between a 7 and an 8 and went 7.5. Yeah. Lower Deck's supposed to be out in August. Yeah, the official announcement was late summer, so I assume that means August once again. It's always in August, so probably after Strange New World Season 2. That's a good assumption. Prodigy seasons have 20 episodes, so I would have been surprised. Yeah, we don't but I'm curious how they're going to split up those 20 episodes. All right. Thank you, Norman, for popping into this chat, staying up to the wee hours of the morning with me. And thank you all so much for watching. Please join me next week as I review episode 8, and I should be back to my normal format where I will be doing a pre-recorded video that should come out not at 1:30 in the morning, but probably a little bit later, using the usual time. I usually record it before I go to work around 7 a.m. my time, and it usually finishes uploading sometime mid-morning to early afternoon. So back on the regular schedule. Next week, I will also be dropping that Lower Decks Season 1 video that I mentioned. Also, I will be putting out my April calendar as soon as I get my computer back as well, so you know what's coming up on my channel in the month of April. So stay tuned for all that, and please subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you all really soon. Goodbye.